huddle up, huddle up. We're going to crank these engines up on one. All right? Wait, 80. Wait, 80, set. Drivers, start your engines.
This is the Finish Line.
I coached a great offensive lineman in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs to that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. Ballgame.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. It is, again, the Finish Line, brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network. Gentlemen, first time in a while, we are coming together after a loss. How are y'all feeling this week after that performance?
You know, surprisingly, I actually feel pretty good. I watched the game, and typically after a loss, I'm not in a good mood. But, you know, I sat there and watched the game, and I give all credit to the 49ers. They won the game. I'm not going to take anything from that. But I saw where we left a lot of plays out on the football field. But what I did like that I saw was I look at body language a lot of times during the game to see how people respond to different. And I never, from watching our players' body language, it never, to me, they showed that they felt that they couldn't win the game. You know, a couple of turnovers late in the game, you know, that kind of made it look worse than what it was. But came back and finally hit a couple plays and scored their touchdown. And it was like, okay, here we come. Now we finally, so the confidence level was there. And then even on that last drive, I think we were on the 20-yard coming out of the end zone, and on a fourth down, and it was at least 6-7 minutes left. It showed to me that McDaniel got some big kahunas, because most coaches would have punted in a situation like that and said, let our defense play and give us a chance to get the ball back. But to go for it on a fourth down, backed up like that, knowing it shows that he's got confidence in his players, he's got confidence in his system, and those are some of the things I took away. Did I not like that we didn't win the game? No, I didn't, but it wasn't the same feeling as it was typically last year or some of the previous games that we lost. So I feel good. I think we're still in a good position. I thought the defense played really well, this and that, even though the offense kept going 3 and out. So I felt pretty good about the game. I'm in a good mood, and I'm looking forward to playing the Chargers this week. How you doing, Mr. Ballgame?
I'm good, man, because I've seen this before. You know, as a coach, I think there's always moments in teams, situations where, you know, you get humbled a bit, and that's necessary, because this, to me, after winning all of the games that they won to get to this point and being 8-4, you can kind of get a little bit ahead of yourself, just a bit, and then have a game like this where you know you left a lot out on the field and you could have done better. And then it refocuses your attentions back to what the ultimate goal is anyway, of winning, you know what I'm saying, getting the most wins as possible and getting to the postseason. So for me, I don't take anything away like you from the 49ers defense. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. Our defense still is having issues of getting people off the field, right? We're not going to gloss over that. But all in all, this is a growth moment, I think. And I think that, you know, the fact that they still galvanized in their own beliefs, in their beliefs about what they can achieve this year as a unit, that says a lot about who this team is and how you know how much they've matured and how much they still got left in front of them that they want to accomplish. And it's always a good thing to see guys talking about, you know, the next game at this point, because that one's over. They done moved away from it. They didn't even wait in the city. They got on the plane and went on down to L.A. to prep for the prep for the Chargers, and that just says that they're about their business, and that's really what you want to see. As a fan, it kind of sucks a bit because you never want to lose, but the coach in me understands that, man, you're not gonna win them all. I mean, it's only been done once in the history of the NFL, and it's difficult to go out there every week and just keep doing exactly what we were doing. Eventually, somebody, and it just happens to be these. Eventually, somebody gonna figure you out, and then unfortunately, it happened to be a team that's built very similar to us and ran by a guy that's very familiar with our head coach. Right? Would I fool myself into believing that if we played them again, we wouldn't beat them? Heck no, I think we'd run through them like like it was nobody's business. But they were the better team last Sunday. Hats off to them, and best wishes for them on the rest of their season. But we still got a lot of work. We still got a whole lot of meat left on the bones to pick as well. So I think McDaniel is going to focus on dismantling Chargers on Sunday night, and I sure wouldn't want to have to be the coach. They have to go out here and stop this offense this Sunday after the performance they put up last Sunday. So yeah, I'm okay with it, man. Like 8-4 is still amazingly great right now in terms of the AFC, because the AFC race is pretty freaking tough. So, and to be 8-4 and still in the thick of things right now. The playoffs started tomorrow. We're still in the playoffs. We might not have a home. We might have home field advantage, but we're in, and that's what matters the most. Get to the postseason, and then that's when the other season starts. So,
before we get into everything here, BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sport betting needs this season, and it's also one of the sponsors of the Finish Line. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events, whether that's the NFL, NBA, MMA, tennis, whatever. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Just make sure to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Ooh, had a tickle that whole time. All right. Getting into this 49ers loss a little bit here. Obviously, let's talk about the elephant in the room, to his performance. I believe I sent both of you the all 22. It wasn't, you know what I mean? The first half was downright awful. There was a Waddle read and a Wilson read where if he makes those throws, touchdowns. And they're touchdowns, and we're up 24-10 in this game. Our defense is now playing with the lead, and it's probably a whole different ball game. And what's frustrating is even into the second half, you saw him missing throws he's been routinely making all year long. And Fred Warner after the game said they expected us not to run, so they were just focused on dropping back in coverage. And you saw the difference guys like Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner were making in coverage. And I mean, Dolphin fans, like I said before, I'll say it again, that's what a good second level looks like, in case you've never seen one before recently. And they were a big difference. In a lot of different facets of the game. But let's talk about Tua's performance. Richmond, let's start with you. Clearly off. He started off, he looked off after the touchdown. Then the pressure started getting to him. And I don't mean the pressure of the game. I mean the pressure in terms of the pass rush. What were your overall takeaways and thoughts from Tua? Because I think a lot of people might be nervous or hesitant because we saw a lot of the mistakes we saw last year that were sore thumbs when you broke down the tape, and that we hadn't seen rear their ugly head yet this year. I mean, I said to someone, hey, at least we have some kind of understanding of what his floor might be. But what were your overall takeaway from Tua Tagovailoa's performance versus the 49ers? Again, almost 300 yards.
Yeah, I watched it. I just, it was just a bad game. His timing was off. His reads wasn't off. He was hitting the right receivers. It's just the either it was a bad pass, the way it was coming out. It just wasn't. It definitely wasn't typical Tua. But mentally, he was making the correct reads and stuff. The ball just wasn't tying up and hitting. He wasn't like that sharpshooter he normally is. So,
yeah.
And he kept fighting, and like you said, the first half was rough, and he finally kind of got it going. But for the most part, I mean, it wasn't a secret. The 49ers, I knew they're going to put pressure on us. That front four is one of the best in the NFL. So that wasn't shocking. But I mean, he stood in the pocket. Yeah, he got hit a few times, but he didn't just freak out and just spaz out or whatever. But I just think his timing was just a little bit off, and I think he knew it. And I think he was trying to. Every time you go to the sideline, you try to settle down, calm down, and like refocus and say, "Okay, I got this, and that." And he had it as far as his reads and progressions. It's just when the ball was coming out, it wasn't coming out like it was supposed to. So I know that was, I know it was frustrating for him. So been there, done that. Not as a quarterback, but I've been there where you're doing everything right, and it just seems like it's not your day. And you just got to keep fighting and fight through it. So he'll be fine. But yeah, like you said.
I can't wait to pick it. Richmond, I'm about to pick your brain so bad after we hear about we're here. Let's hear ball game's thoughts on Tua's performance, and then I want to pick your brain on something here. Okay, ball game. What were your thoughts on Tua's performance overall?
So for me, being that he's still fairly young and impressionable, and the relationship he has with Mike, this game was big for both of them. So I saw for me, and I don't care, this is my opinion. I saw a guy that carried the emotions of himself and his coach onto the field. And that, to me, is primarily the reason why I think he was a little too amped up for the game, right? And because he settled down in the third quarter a bit, right, after probably having been talked to and getting out of his head. But that happens, especially with young quarterbacks when, you come out on a national stage in a game that everybody in the nation is watching, and your coach is returning back to a space that he came from, and he wants to beat, he wants to beat Shanahan, and Shanahan wants to beat him. And that energy of me sitting in the room with my coach all week long, I'm carrying all this emotion. We sharing all of this emotion and feelings together. And then I come out on the field, and I got the reads. I'm putting the ball to the right person, but I'm high. Or I'm wide here and there. That's all emotions. You know what I mean? That's and it happens. And that equates to a bad game. What he's gonna have to do is be able to, he and Mike they're gonna have to be able to shoulder their own load. And Tua can't take any from Mike. You feel me? If he need anything, the coach can give it to you. But he should have enough for himself to say, you know what, my job is this. He has to worry about that. I got this on the field. I listen to everything he's telling me through this headset or what we discussed through the week. But when we're on the field, I got to be in control of my own emotions. And I got to be able to dial in exactly for the things that I can control out here. Forget about what everybody else is saying. I got to play. And these guys around me, no matter how great they are, they're not going to be as great as they can be if I'm not handling these emotions. And that's what I saw. I saw a young kid. I saw a young man, because I can't call him a kid anymore. He got a baby now, so he's responsible for somebody else other than himself. And he let the emotions of the game get to him. And it caused him to be completely different than the guy that we've seen the last couple weeks. But it happens. So it's a little learning. That's what I've said. This is part of the learning and maturation process for Tua as well. And like I said, I just don't want to be I don't want to be the coach that's got to go out there and try to stop this offense the week after him having that kind of, because I don't see them having 2 down weeks like that. And I'm okay. I think this is necessary, bro. Like at the end of the day, all of these things that are happening, I think they are necessary processes that need to happen now, and you want them to happen now so that they don't happen later when the games matter even more. Plus, they're an NFC team. It would be different if it was an AFC team. But it's just an NFC team. They don't count towards your AFC AFC record. So I don't see it the same. Yeah, you want to beat them, but like, whatever, man. Let's move on.
Richmond, I wanted to pick your brain about something, because one of the facets of the game, I think, okay, reads were open, guys were open, like we haven't seen against the San Francisco 49ers defense. But I think in so many other areas, Shanahan, he the mentor outcoached the protege. And I'll talk about this. This is a glaring one to me, because you saw it in the Tennessee game when Ryan Tannehill was starting to push beyond the sticks. It was, they took the ball out of his hands. They predicated everything off the run with Derrick Henry and everything, and play action, high percentage throws. When Jimmy G went down, that's obviously one of the main game plans a lot of coaches go to when you have a young quarterback like Brock Purdy. That's basically what they ran with Brock Purdy. You know what I mean? That's why the guy had over 25 completions, but barely over 200 yards, right? And then you look at his next gen stats, and he only had 4 passes beyond 10 yards all game. And so, but sometimes I think even the great quarterbacks call for that when they're having their off days, because when he started getting it going in the second half, it was shorter stuff. They started giving him like drags and speed outs and all that kind of stuff just to kind of get him in rhythm, get him going. I think McDaniel, one of the things he didn't do was he didn't adjust. And I think the run game would have allowed him to make a lot of adjustments. I think by Tua and all of his incompletions, it turned us into an enemy of the clock, because one of the strengths of our pass offense is it's an extension of the run game, and it keeps the clock moving. You were killing the clock with all these, we had all these 3 and outs, and we were making no dent in the clock, but the run game would have kept the clock moving a little bit. Mostert was averaging 4.3 yards per carry. You know what I mean? Like, Jeff Wilson got 1 carry, and this is after a week where they were going back and forth with ex-teammates on Twitter, because the interview they did with the guy who I'll have my interview going up with Tyler Dunn tomorrow, it set everything off between the players. They had a chip on their shoulder to play with, and you weren't feeding them the football. Listen, the lack of a run game, it's not something we just saw yesterday. It's something that we've noticed in multiple games this year. Your thoughts on it, because I am baffled that Tua, listen, sure, the guys are getting open. And Tua's making the reads, he's just not making the throws. But at some point as a coach, and I want to hear Ballgame thoughts on this after, doesn't it scream to you that, okay, I don't got to take the ball out of his hands, but I got to take the ball out of his hands. I got to predicate everything that I'm going to do with him off something that I know is going, and it's the run game. And was that frustrating you? Because it's not like we don't have it. It's not like this is past years where we're relying on guys like Kalen Ballage. Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert have shown us they can make plays in this offense. What were your thoughts on the last 8 times they ran the football, Richmond? I think win or loss, that's inexcusable.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point. Jimmy G went down, and you figure that, like you're in Ballgame, we're talking earlier, if we make a couple of plays, we go 24-10. If we make those couple of plays, that change the whole dynamics of the 49ers offense. They can't be as conservative. You got to push it, because when you know the type of offense we have, if it's 24-10, it could easily be 35 by the time the end of the game over. And you got to try to get to at least keep pace, or try to stay right there with them. We were going 3 and out. I don't know if it was because the defense was kind of bend, don't break. The thing I think that really hurt was, they 49ers were able to score that touchdown right before halftime. I think they went up 17-10. But other than that, even though we were going 3 and out, they were bend but don't break. So we was keep getting in and off the field. So it was like a chess match. So at time, I think he should have mixed the run in a little bit more. But I think he just has so much confidence in Tua that, he's making a cut. He's going to settle down and then get it going. But like you said, he probably should have shortened the throws if you're not going to run it, giving them a little quicker stuff, that you build your confidence up, and then say, okay, we've been throwing under 10. Let's try to hit 10 to 15. Let's stretch it out. Now he seems like he's rolling this and that. And that's something you got to pay attention to. But when you're the play caller, the head coach, and then you're trying to get it, sometimes you can not really focus in on everything. But the run always helps the passing game, this and that. And especially when you can look at your sheet and say, oh, we're averaging 4 yards a kick. Let's hit them every night, and just to keep them honest, because that helps with the pass rush.
Why was Purdy so successful? I got 2 words for you: Christian McCaffrey.
But they knew. But the 49ers, even with Jimmy Garoppolo, they really rely heavily on the running game, and that's where they know what their strength is. They'll throw the ball from time to time, But even like Debo Samuel, it was a couple times that I thought we had him stopped, and
They were giving him the edge, brother.
I was
When Debo was hitting the edge on us, I was like, "Are you serious right now? Y'all can't contain a receiver out of the backfield."
He's special. I give it Debo something special now. I was like, I thought we had him a couple times, and I was like, how in the hell did he do that? But they know their strength is to run, and I think we know that our strength, even though we can run the ball, I think in McDaniel's head, he feels that throwing the football is our strength. I could be wrong.
But like, come on, okay, ball game. You gotta have
Well, see, here's
contingency plans in place if the run game or the pass game is not working. Like, and the thing is, it was clear as day it wasn't working from the first after the Sherfield pass. It went downhill. You had the halftime to make the adjustments.
Right, we had long before then. He could have made the adjustments. The thing is that we watched also the rookie head coach for the first time get beside himself and get stuck in a mode and refuse to actually come out of it. Which, I've seen this countless times, and I thought without a shadow of a doubt that he would have switched up a little bit, just to shorten the throws, give him something a little bit easier, this, that, and the other. But you stuck with the same things, and it just kind of just perpetuated. Because my thing about the pass game is that it's a lot. It's tied into what you said about keeping the clock running, but it also is an incompletion, right? And if you don't convert the pass or you don't complete the pass, then at that point you're putting yourself that much further to have to get that much more the next down, because if you run the ball for 3 yards, now you only need 7. You complete a 4-yard pass, now you only need 3 again. Most people have something in their offense that they can get 3 yards. Now you're first. Come out on first down, you miss, you still need 10. Now I can't run if I know I can only get 3, because I gotta try to find something in the arsenal that's gonna give me at least 5 or 6.
And ball game.
You see what I'm saying?
From a defensive standpoint, when you have an elite second level like Warner and Dre Greenlaw, you got to keep those guys honest with the run game. You just sit, look at how much they were just buck dropping Warner.
That's what I said on Sunday.
All they were doing was buck dropping. It was Tampa 2 and buck drops. Like, that's it. It was
in your fifth quarter show on Sunday. That's what I said. I said he didn't do anything to force those guys to play the run. They were just dropping down in the intermediate areas, knocking passes down, because you never gave them the threat of the run, and that played directly into their hands. Plus, they knew, there's some similarities to these offenses and what you're trying to do. Although ours is a little more pass-based, they know the concepts. They know the concepts that make their defense acceptable. And I'm guaranteeing you, they watch 3 weeks of tape of us and say, you know what, we're not going to give them this. We're definitely not going to give them this. And if we do give it to them, we got to rally real quick. And they did. That's the thing, too. They do an amazing job at that second level. They do an amazing job of tackling when they get there.
Oh,
and all those things.
The angles Greenlaw and Warner take.
Oh, my God. Yeah, man.
And how quickly Warner can flip his hips from one side of the field to the other side while backpedaling. And then, because they were expecting pass boys, Warner got his hand on one of those layered throws we've seen Tua making all year, because they were just sitting back waiting on the pass.
It's like they knew, it's the same thing, though. It had a feel of they knew kind of what concepts we wanted to run. They knew how to defend it, much like we did with the Browns. Like the Browns, like Myles Garrett said, 2 of them knew. It's like they knew what the Browns were trying to do against them, and they didn't have an answer for us.
Yeah.
So it just got flipped on us. And that happens, especially when Shanahan, he is the guy that you sat under all this time, so he knows what your heart and soul really wants to do. And people don't shy away from tendencies sometimes, but in that game, he should, 8 carries, man. That's just unheard of, bro. And that really should be sitting with him right now.
What's crazy, bro, if Tua made those 2 throws and we go up 24-10, they would have been forced to run it anyways because the lead.
Yeah.
So we would have got it. Okay. Nick, let's talk about it. Nick Bosa. Okay,
I don't like that dude, man. Let me tell you why. Because every freaking time I saw him hitting Tua, he was going low, bro. Yeah, and then they caught him on camera, bro. Like
Yeah.
he had went low on Tua, had Tua down on the ground or whatnot, and then he got up and he looked over his shoulder.
Yeah, there's
and then he
twice in the
saw him
game,
getting up, and he was like, "Oh shit!" Like I ain't heard him. Like, come on, man, you freaking piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that ain't what the game about, bro.
Tell us what it's really about.
That's not what the game is about, though. Like,
I saw it. I saw it. But let's take a Xanax and relax.
People feed their families off of this shit, bro. Like,
no, I agree. But he did dominate. Let's call it a spade here, okay?
He did. Against backups, but he did.
They had 11. They had 11 pressures. He had 7 of them. He took the sack lead. He had 3 sacks. See, the thing is, I thought was, and I don't know if you guys noticed it, we gave up key pressures that disrupted the throw, and all those sacks came on third downs. When we needed, it's not like it came on second down and okay, we could try and make it up on third down. No, they came on like key third downs. You know what I mean?
But they were third and 6s and third and 8s and you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
And then it turns it into peace
pin
out.
Your ears back. You know
yeah, just pin your ears back. Exactly. So what were you guys okay, let's start with you, Richmond, because we'll get a little bit more of a controlled answer, and then we'll let Ballgame have the floor and do his tap dance on Nick Bosa. So what were your thoughts on both? Because I mean, you've gone up against the elite, Bruce Smith, all these guys. You've gone up against. I mean, I'm sure you went up against Reggie White too, right? Pro
Bowl.
There you go.
He was on Reggie was on the other side. Thank goodness.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So, what your thoughts on Nick Bosa, because he was clearly a force. See, I feel like offensive players make impact plays. Impact plays are third down and meaningful downs, and I think Bosa made a lot of impactful disruptions and plays on key downs. What were your thoughts?
Yeah. He I mean, you look at his stats. He had a good game. I played with his dad and actually met him at the draft in Tennessee. But I think on one of those, the sack that really got was at the end of the game where he forced the fumble and got that was against the offensive line. But one sack, I think they ran a stunt and they slid the line left and he looped around. And the guy inside got penetration, so the guard and center couldn't pass it off. So he came free on that one. And then I think the other one was against a tight end or running back that was trying to block him. So, I mean, I'm not going to take nothing from him. He had good and he works hard and, gets up the field and this and that. But I still think that we left enough plays out on the field that even if he had those same stats, we could win that game. But he had a good game. I'll say that. I ain't gonna ride out as hard as
let Ballgame do it, bro. He'll do it for you. Hold on, let me key the Home Depot music. Look at him. Look at the eyes on that guy.
He won't make eye contact.
I don't like. I'm sorry, bro. Like, but real talk. I just don't like. I don't like dirty players, man.
Dirty players. No, I get you. Yeah, because like you said,
they've been going low all year. Actually, if you've been watching them,
you can be extremely effective and be at the top of your game and do it clean. You don't have to be dirty and out here trying to take people play. Because you obviously know the dude is falling down and you going at his knees. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. You got to be better than that. Like, if you're going to consider,
did you think that should have been called a roughing the passer with the way it's been called this year?
Like, come on, man. Yeah. They don't call it. They don't call people for less than that. So
I asked Martin the same thing. And
I just don't like that. I mean, I'm a defensive coach, and I tell my guys all the time, hey, run through him. And there's a way to tackle and still be effective, but you don't go at nobody's knees, man, because this guy got to take care of his family. You feel me? Like that's not cool. But he had a great game and stuff. But I mean, we respect.
Wow, Tua got hit high too, because we had 2 blown on that. He got hit high and he got hit low.
Yeah, and I'm like, I expected him to be a problem. I mean, he is who he is, and his name rings out because he's good at what he does. But at the same time,
I think he's better than Joey. I think he's better than Joey. He's so technically and fundamentally sound. That's why I agree with you. He doesn't need to be going low because you're great already as is.
Yeah. I ain't got much to say on him because I'm still pissed.
Someone's going to get hurt and they're going to start watching him. Don't worry. That's what'll happen.
Well, at least it didn't hurt.
Yeah. Well, thank God. That's a couple times this year where Tua's taken awkward, right? Like where you're like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Boys, Austin Jackson back on IR. They went out and they signed former Pro Bowl left tackle Eric Fisher. Now he's not what he was a couple years ago, but this is a guy where if Armstead's going to miss time, he's a lot better than Greg Little. Let's have this conversation with ourselves. Your thoughts on? We'll start with you, Richmond, again because it is your position. Your thoughts on the addition of Eric Fisher? Everyone knows one of the guys I wanted was Mitchell Schwartz, but hey, I mean, let's go. What are your thoughts on Eric Fisher?
I love it. I mean, you look at it. This team has continually made moves. They look at the position we're in. We're in a position to make the playoffs. Austin Jackson, I take my hat off. He tried to come back last week. Definitely wasn't ready, this and that. So they go put him on IR. At the same time, your left tackle has second degree pain, pectoral strain or whatever.
Yeah.
And you look and say, hey, long term, we're gonna need some offensive linemen. Like you said, Eichenberg's went down, this and that. So he, like you said, he's not the guy he used to be, but he's a guy that can come in and fill in and give you some quality play. And I think that's what's going to be needed. Like I was listening to what Ballgame was saying, and Ballgame was talking about. Well, like we're 8-4, and I think a lot of the fans sometimes they look at it and say we were
4-8.
Well, no. I think this, and this is why I always say I take it one game at a time. But they'll look at it, they say, okay, we were 8-3, and they'll look and say, okay, we should win this X amount of games and we should be in the playoffs. But when you lose one, they start freaking out. And if you watch the playoff scenario, us and Buffalo keep going from second in the playoffs to maybe fifth or something like that. So they look at that and say, oh no, we've dropped to fifth. So now they're looking, we're only 2 spots out of the playoffs. You can't look at it like that. You got to look and say, okay, like you said, you made a great point. And I hope people were listening, but you said if we win the next 2 games, we're right back in the second position. And a lot of people don't look at it. They just look at we got one more loss than Buffalo, but they truly not looking at the losing to an AFC versus NFC team. And
they don't know football.
Knight, you better be prepared because Liam Eichenberg will be back at left guard. Robert Jones has been kind of struggling the last couple games. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Richmond.
Yeah, so they're continuing. This shows me that they believe we're going to be in the playoffs, and they keep going out and making the acquisitions to say, hey, we got it rolling. We're going to keep it rolling. So it was a good move by them. They realized that because you got to be on IR at least another 4 or 5 weeks before you can come back. So they said, no, we can let this guy heal up, and then we got another guy we can come in. This gives Armstead maybe another week or 2 that maybe we can go without him, and then say, hey, we ready for that push. So I loved what they did.
What's the question? Because at this point right now, I'm saying any move they make, I know that they're making to continue to solidify themselves towards.
Well, he's better than Greg Little, right? Like he's better than anything we have.
Well, shit, maybe my neighbor who ain't never played football probably better than Greg right now, and he's about as big as him too. So hell, I give him a shot right now if I could. But I'm over that, man. I've never played O-line, right? So I'm not gonna diss. I'm not gonna even diss on those guys. Plus, they belong to us. So
after you finish dissing on those guys, okay.
Yeah. You know how that goes. But all in all, Eric Fisher was, he was a top guy at one point. So
yeah, he was number 1 overall draft pick.
Yeah, if he got anything left in the tank, I'm
gonna be 32 in January.
I'm willing. I'm glad he's willing to come out and help us out. You know what I'm saying? And in a pinch. So he can't have fallen off the cliff that much. And the fact of the matter is, for me, I always look at the wins and who they were by and how that stacks us in the AFC. So we win more AFC games than most of our opponents. This stuff's weird, man. Like if you win all your AFC games and you win like 2 or 3 NFC games, and that puts you at 11, right? And the other person wins, half and half, you get the wins. you get the spot because you got more AFC opponent wins. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. You got to take care of your conference business first, and then from there, your overall record. And losing to an NFC team that could potentially, because they just went out and signed Baker Mayfield, right? They signed Baker Mayfield. Don't know what he gonna do, but we all arguably said that the 49ers could be in a team that make a push toward the Super Bowl, right? They built their defense is nice. They got one of the top defenses, and their run game when it's going is probably the best in the league. So, they don't have the passing game like we do, but they're a threat to be reckoned with. And they always got an answer for Aaron Rodgers. So that makes them, in my opinion, a really good team. So I just watch them, like I said, take it 1 week at a time, handle one opponent at a time, and win more AFC games than NFC ones, and then you're good. But, if you can win them all you want to, I understand this fan base is hungry and they want to be, they want to be pampered with winning it, winning 14, 15 games a season, but you don't need that. It'd be nice, but we just need to get in. Postseason is the
and
first.
Home field advantage.
And home field advantage. Those are the first 2 goals, right? So if you get those, you stand, probability and your chances of winning greatly increase, and that's what I want. I want the highest probability possible. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
all right, guys. Tua Tagovailoa, to show both of you, in fact, Tua Tagovailoa is the number 1 vote getter in Pro Bowl votes. Actually, Tyreek Hill's number 4. As you can see, the Dolphins fan base is the number 3 fan base in terms of Pro Bowl voting right now. But we got the number 1 and number 4 guys, and 2 of the top 3 AFC guys. And if you didn't see earlier today, guys, Chris Sims was out here complimenting the Dolphins. I mean, I don't know if the world's ending. I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know what's happening. I mean, I just wanted to talk to you guys about this, and the reason why, because look how far we've come, boys. Can you believe how far we've come from people trying to write Tua off last year to now he's leading Pro Bowl vote getter? Richmond, from someone who played, what does that accolade mean anything, or is it one of those things where individual accolades mean nothing? Show me a Super Bowl.
No. It definitely means something. You're one of the best, and the way that youngest man has played this season, and you see the turnaround, with getting with a guy like Mike McDaniel and his offense and a scheme that fits him, and letting him be productive, and he's just been ripping it out, balls out. So the way the media has kind of caught on, because at first everybody wasn't on, but he should be, like you said, we got two guys on our team that possibly could be considered if they continue to play the way they've played for league MVP, and that's him and Cheetah, and so he's definitely deserving of it. So it's not a big surprise to me. I expected it, so no, I'm happy for him, and the way he goes about his business. He's not a vocal guy, and he's not, he does keep receipts, and he'll remind people of stuff they say, but he's not a vindictive guy to me. He's just a guy that, he goes about his business and he wants to win, and he's a true team player, and that's what I love about him, and he's a leader. So I'm happy for him.
I think it's a well-deserved honor. I know, and I think adding Tyreek to this mix of young, energetic guys has really helped these guys become true professionals, in the sense of how they handle things in the media. Tyreek's a little older, so that he can, he can be a little more candid in the things that he says. But most of the guys, when they talk and they give interviews and things of that nature, they're about the business, and that's the first thing that I think matters more than anything. They're looking at it, they're taking it serious, and they realize that this is a special opportunity for them to do something special, that they don't want to squander it. They didn't start out. I don't think they started out the season believing to themselves that they would be 72 Dolphins, but they knew that they would be better than the 2020. They'd be better than the 2021 Dolphins, and that's the goal, right? Do better. and progress every year, and they're well on track right now to be able to do that. You get two more wins, and they've already matched last year. You get 4 more, nobody can say much about nothing. You arrived in, you're on the national stage, recognition is there, and the Pro Bowl voting and being named to the Pro Bowl is just a part of the recognition process. And these guys have gone out and earned this recognition, and kudos to them. But I think they realize that there's bigger than just being voted to the Pro Bowl. You know what I'm saying? The ultimate prize is to be the last one standing, and they're hungry. And the way they play for each other, you still can see it. Like you said earlier, Reason. Even late in the game with 6 minutes left, they were still the energy was still up, and they were still thinking, "Shit, we can get back in this. We can get back in this." If you can't kill a team's enthusiasm about still being on the field with 6 minutes up and they're down, that tells you that team believes in themselves. And once they believe, that's scary. And then they're catching, and they're still believing in themselves, and they're not imploding on each other at the right time, because the closer they get, every win they take going now in this last stretch down, this last bit of the stretch is adding that much more momentum and fire to their desire to be the best and be the last one standing. And that's scary, bro.
They might have lost to the 49ers, but I guarantee you they believe they can go into Buffalo and win after giving them 93 snaps and beating them. So,
well, here's the thing: they lost the battle, but I do believe that they still know without a shadow of a doubt that they can win the war.
Yeah.
Right. And all of these skirmishes, that you look at it like it's like war. You know what I mean? You're not gonna win every skirmish, but as long as you win the ultimate, war, and you're the last one standing, that's all that matters. Because it's supposed to be bloody. It ain't supposed to be easy. Because if it's easy, then what are you really gaining from it? And this team needed a lot of things. They had a lot of question marks at the beginning of the season about who they were and whether they were tough enough and whether they was going to be able to put it all together and how the offensive line was going to gel and what we're going to see on defense. You know what I'm saying? We got to figure out that Jekyll and Hyde thing and why the defense can't travel. But for the most part, they've answered a lot of questions. And I think that's progress in the right way that they can sustain and that they can continue to build upon. And that's all you can really ask for, especially with all of the pieces that they brought in. And the fact that they were able to put them all together this fast and it gels, and then you see a product that you're like, whew, how you going to stop it? Well, it took a great defense to slow it down. You know what I mean? And that's arguably one of the best defenses in the league. But, like I said, if they had to see them again, I believe they could get them. So it is what it is.
So, guys, for the second week in a row, the Dolphins were flexed to prime time. Remember, we talked about it last week about them starting to be starting to be must-see TV. Right. Now that game with Buffalo has been flexed to Saturday, but what it's done is it's given us a short week, right? Well, what are your guys' thoughts? I'll start with you, Richmond. I'll start with you, Ballgame. What are your thoughts on a short week and now all eyes are going to be on Buffalo?
Well, the short week, essentially, that just basically takes one rest day. Well, it takes one rest day away. But at this point in the season, when they're fighting for, they basically fighting for the right for everybody in the nation to say that they're a legit contender. You don't need it. I think they're gonna have enough motivation, and if they can just stay healthy through this game on Sunday, they probably be willing to play Buffalo on Thursday if they could. So, they know what's ahead of them. I think, once it took Buffalo 93 snaps and they still couldn't get the win. I think at this point now, like you said, we know what it's going to take to beat them again. Buffalo got to prove now at this point that they have what it takes to beat us this year. We don't worry about what happened last season. This year, they're 0-1 against us, and they got to go by, and they got to take it from us. Regardless of whether we got to go to their house or not, this team plays for each other. This is not the same team they played the past 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. And I think Buffalo is aware of that. We are on their radar, and no matter what anybody says, when you got a team that you gave them your best, with 93 snaps, you gave them your best, and it still wasn't good enough, we were living rent-free in your head. You know what I'm saying? And, Allen, I think that's one of the primary reasons why Josh Allen pushed against what the doctors were telling him not to take no time out, because he knows that, no pause, the Dolphins on their ass. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And you can't afford no slip-ups. And they're not guaranteed anything, right? They got a game this weekend that they could lose. So everything at this point right now in the season is 100%. You know what I'm saying? Keep winning. You keep being able to look over your shoulder and grinning at the person that you just, hey, good game. You know what I'm saying? But we got another mission in front of us. So I don't. They're professionals. You know what I mean? It sucks, but at the same time, I think they're built and ready for it. And I think that they had to play Friday night. They'd be up for it. You know, they want to get to Buffalo because that's always what everybody's saying, right? Well, you beat Buffalo without this person. So Buffalo's without Von Miller now. So what's the excuse going to be then?
Yeah.
Either way, you got to play. Hey, you play the schedule, and whoever shows up, whatever 11 on the field, that's the 11 we got to beat. So they got to do the same thing too. And us having a short week, I don't think it matters. It's only 1 day, one day difference. So they don't have to sit in that anticipation a whole another 24 hours longer. They get to them sooner, and I think that's what this. I think the NFL effed up pretty much, in my opinion. Dolphins gonna be ready for them. So.
Richmond, what are your thoughts on us getting the respect because we actually might don't forget that Jets game still doesn't have, I believe it's a Jets game, still doesn't have a time and date, so that could be flexed into prime time too. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the Dolphins finally getting a little respect, because we're seeing it multiple weeks in a row now? Like, we went from barely any primetime games to all of a sudden the NFL can't get enough of us.
Yeah, I think typically you get rewarded the following season. So it's good to have this flex schedule where you can make some changes for if a team is actually playing pretty well. And, I'll even go back to the 49ers game, listening to Moose Johnson, and I can't remember who else was commentating the game. But even though we didn't win and we didn't play our best game, we were in that football game. And they kept continuing going back and saying, this is not like Tua, I don't know if he's pressing or whatever, but normally he's really accurate, this and that. So it was a good showing against the 49ers. And so we got rewarded with the Chargers, which I think that game is going to be, I think this is going to be a really good game. And then I don't think the day affects you when you play in Buffalo. It doesn't matter if it's a Thursday night as Buffalo, that's an arch rival, that's the team that you got to go beat in your division. It's almost like if you had a younger brother, but now your younger brother is just as big as you are. So what you used to go be able to tell him to do, you're like, no, bro, it ain't going down like that. So me and Ballgame was talking about how competitive his sons are, and how he said, man, they'll get going and they want to go in the backyard and start playing football. So that's what it is. We're like, hey, if we got to go out here and sell it this way, that's the way we're going to do it. So whether we play y'all on Saturday or Sunday, we're coming. I think, with Buffalo, they lost that game against us down in Miami, and in the back of their mind, they probably felt they should have won it. But at the same time, we feel a certain way, and we're looking forward to going up there. So I think it's great they moved it to Saturday. It's a division, it's a rivalry game, and I think the way the records and everything is setting up, it's going to be an important game. So I thought it was a smart move by the NFL to move that to a Saturday game. So I'm looking forward to it.
So let's talk about this one this weekend. Primetime Tua, round 2, part 2 versus Justin Herbert. We all remember how the first one went. Womp, womp, womp for Herbert and a W for the Dolphins. But now Tua has an even better team. We know this is going to be the storyline all week. It's going to be, the 5th, 6th versus 6th pick. What are you guys looking most forward to in terms of watching Herbert versus our defense and Tua versus their defense? Are you guys looking forward to this matchup? Go ahead, Ballgame.
Yeah, I want that defense owe me, man. They owe us all, right? I want a great defensive showing. I want it to be more than just the Zach Seiler and Christian Wilkins show. The rest of these guys need to show up, and Chubb and Phillips, you know what I'm saying? It's good to almost be there, but man, y'all got to get home. Y'all got to start getting home consistently, right? Yeah. Like, you're getting paid top dollars to do a job. Boy, you need to figure out a better use of Chubb other than trying to drop him in coverage when guy completely looks lost and things of that nature. But I don't know. It's a short week to clean it up. take away something from him. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to be take Austin Eckler away from him and put it into his hands and prove to the nation on the national stage that Tua is a better passer. Because at the end of the day, defense they got to take somebody away. So if it's a weapon over there, I'd rather Herbert throwing the ball around and Eckler not killing us. So for me, I think it's gonna be a shootout with us victorious. But and we get into that. But I think it's a prime opportunity for Tua to prove and go back on a bounce back that listen, I am human. I had a bad game, but I am still him. Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Just because I had a bad game, you don't get to write me out because it happens. And I think that's important for them to establish that there is fight in this team. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we lost on Sunday, but we right back here, and that's all you got. NFL, you're gonna have to do a little bit better than these Chargers because they're not gonna be able to hold us. And Buffalo, here we come. Something along that lines, man. I just think across the board, it's really this is gonna be one of the premier quarterback duels for the foreseeable future. So Tua's 1-0 against Herbert. I think it's important to get the 2-0, put the pressure on him, and then go ahead and make a name for yourself. He had 2 good seasons ahead of Tua to have people talking about he was the best one in the, what I'm saying? He was the best one in the draft class and all this stuff, and he set the rookie passer record and all this. But yeah, who are you now? I'm healthy now, so let's see what's up. And I beat you last year when I wasn't 100% healthy. So what's good?
Richmond, your thoughts on the Tua versus Herbert matchup?
But yeah, I'm petty, so go ahead.
Yeah, I just I just think that anytime as a player, when you're a competitive person and you don't play your best game the previous week, I look for him to really be back to the old Tua that we saw previous to the 49ers. I think he's really gonna hone in. He's gonna settle down. I think he already knows that they're gonna upplay this game, the Tua versus Herbert battle. But I think he's going to be more focused on. I think, like he said earlier season, Mike McDaniel asked him which play you want to run. He said the one that gets the touchdown. So I think he wants to be efficient. I think he wants to spread the ball around, and I think it is going to be a dueling match because I think the Chargers know they really can't afford to lose another game because they're trying to fight to stay in the playoff race. But I see the Dolphins. I think it's just. I think we're gonna get right back on track where we were. So there will be some scoring in this game. That's what I believe, unless the defense really get out to Herbert and kind of if Phillips and Chubbs can get some plays and really disrupt them, that might make a difference. But I think it's gonna be a kind of a dueling match between the quarterbacks, and they're gonna be slinging their rock. But I think we come out on top.
What are your you saw how Christian McCaffrey was against us. Now we're going up against Austin Eckler, and do you guys think that we can contain this guy? Because you look at it right now, Austin Eckler already has 80, count them, 80, only 7 less than Tyreek Hill, 80 receptions on the season right now. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. And like the guy is just he's unbelievable, right? He has he's averaging 4.3 yards per carry. He has 589 rushing yards. He has 7 rushing touchdowns. As a receiver, he has 564 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns as well. Ballgame, we'll start with you again. You think we're going to be able to contain this guy after we saw what we saw McCaffrey do against us? Because this is also he's the number 1 target. I mean, Herbert loves throwing at the line of scrimmage, even with that big arm.
But that's the thing, though. That's why I said previously that we got to take something away. I mean, Ekler is so vital to what they try to do with the when Mike Williams and Keenan Allen were hurt. That I think he's actually the most important piece on their offense. So, if you don't take him away, then what's the point? Take away his safety blanket. That's what Ekler has become, right? He's basically his Darren Sproles, the guy that did it all. You feel me? Catch the ball out the backfield, run up between the tackles, screen game, all those things. So, yeah, I think for me, take Ekler away, force Herbert to beat you, and that will be my game plan going in. And I'm going to send, I'm going to send as much exotic pressure as I need to confuse him because he's still a young player. He's still a young quarterback. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to let him sit back there and get comfortable. I can't, but Boyer's got to prove that he can consistently do that. Same way you do it at home. I don't understand why it ain't translating. I just don't get it. And then maybe it's Boyer being a little, too conservative in his calls and but something's off, but my goal would be right out the gate, first thing on the board. If I was a defensive coordinator, I'm writing it in big letters. Stop the running back. And then from there, I make the rest of my keys to victory. Alignment and assignment, close the back door. If they run in sweeps, backside edge protection guy, you got to close the door. You got to make sure that nobody gets outside of you. All those things, all of those keys that hurt us in the 49ers game, you can guarantee there's going to be some semblance of those type of plays that the Chargers are going to try to run too, because we did such a horrible job at stopping those things. And it's a copycat league. So, show it up, make sure it's show it up, and then prove that you can stop. Take the guy away, man. Don't let him get comfortable. Don't let Herbert do any of the things that he's, to get into his own little rhythm where he starts to feel like he can start throwing the ball 30, 40 yards down the field. But that's when you get in trouble with that team. And only having X, he can only guard one person. But, I like Kadu. I do. I think he's feisty as hell. I think he'll fight for everything. But at the same time, he's still a rookie.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have that kid in a position where he's got to be out there, stressed beyond belief because we can't get pressure with all this money distributed up front. Like, it's just frustrating to me that they show out at home, but you get on the road and you can't generate no pressure whatsoever. Can't even bust a grape. That's all on Boyer, in my opinion, because somehow or another, somewhere, Christian Wilkins and Zach Silas shouldn't be the only two dudes up front causing hell.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
your thoughts, Richmond?
Yeah, I think the difference is this week. I expect the offense to be much better and a lot more consistent and more efficient. Like you said, McCaffrey had a good game against us, but that was part and due to our offense not playing well and going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. If our offense is being productive and making plays like they should, I think Ekler, when you're a favorite, he's going to look for you. So you're not going to just completely, I don't believe, shut him out. But it could also force you to do some things. If we're consistent, moving the ball, scoring, this and that, you got to try to keep pace with this team. That's the thing with the way this offensive system is. It's spread out. You got Waddle, you got Cheetah, and, it's been a while since Kosecki. He could have a big game this game. It's just all in how they try to defend it. So I think he makes some plays, but I think our offense is going to be much more efficient. So it's not going to be the exact same thing that happened with the 49ers, how McCaffrey had a big game due to our offense being so inconsistent. I think we'll be much more consistent this week and put up better points and be more productive than we were against the 49ers. So at least that's the way I'm going in looking at it. I just believe we're going to play way better than what we did this past Sunday.
Yeah, it's crazy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe a team has won this year after they've lost to the 49ers, like the following game. No teams won the following game after they lost to the 49ers. But heading into the Chargers game, the Chargers are 0-4 versus teams with a winning record this season. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. Herbert's been sacked 4 or more times in 3 straight games. It feels like it might be another playoff atmosphere because it's almost as close to a must-win game as it pretty much could be for the Chargers. It seems. What are your guys' final thoughts on the Chargers and the Dolphins, as well as your score predictions.
I was kind of thinking about that. I think it's going to be. I'm thinking the Dolphins are going to score. It'll be over 30 this week, so I think I'm going like 31, 24, something like that. 21. Dolphins 31, Chargers 24-21. Somewhere in there, I definitely think they go over 30 points this week. I must say something. You got to quit putting your notes up on the screen, Ballgame. That's the only way I keep getting all your numbers. So don't be mad at me. You can quit showing your stuff. But that's what I'm thinking. I think we bounce back, and I think we, just like we struck quick against the 49ers, I think we're going to strike quick again. Maybe not a one-play touchdown, but I think we're going to strike quick, and it's going to continue throughout the game. The offense is going to kind of just flow, and they're going to be like, it's gonna give Collinsworth and stuff. They're gonna show us some love. They ain't gonna have nothing else to talk about. I think they're gonna talk about the Tua versus Herbert, but they're gonna talk about. I believe he's gonna talk about the transformation from Flores to how last year versus, and they already kind of talked about a couple of times how he had to get his confidence back and how Coach McDaniel's been a benefit. All that'll come back up, this and that, and when the offense, and then. How do you stop Cheetah? How do you stop Waddle? All that. We got a lot to talk about. So Dolphins should get a lot of love Sunday night. That's what I see coming. But I see us getting back in the win column, 9-4, and then getting ready for the next week to go play. You already know who.
All right. So since my brother took my first prediction, I'm gonna fall back on my second one. And it's pretty close as well. So I'm going to go 35-20 Dolphins. I think, we're a respectable team. I think we'll keep it, we'll hit them early, right? And then introduce the run game to slow the game down, get up 2 scores. They'll fight back in a little bit. We'll score another one, you know what I'm saying? Keep things interesting, and then close them out late in the third, possibly get a late touchdown in the fourth in the game, and then move on to preparing for Buffalo. I don't think I like the Chargers. They got some, losing J.C. Jackson hurts them. So their answer for someone that could have potentially maybe slowed Tyree down, that guy went away. And the other guys in the secondary that they have are just a little too young. Derwin is not Derwin anymore. I loved him. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, know him from Florida State, know his people. Things of that nature. But injuries, the injuries have robbed him of what should have been a stellar career. And he's I wouldn't say he's a shell of himself, but he's definitely not the player he used to be, or he came out as, projected to be because of the injuries. So they'll fight. They definitely gonna fight, but everybody get knocked out though. Somebody gonna get knocked out, and I think it's gonna be them over us. We still got a lot to prove. 35-20 for me. And I just think it comes down to some pivotal stops that the defense will get. And they'll, if Boy is listening, take Ekler out the game, and then that makes the job that much easier. So
yeah. All right, gentlemen. Guys, don't forget tomorrow I'm going to be dropping my interview probably around lunchtime with Tyler Dunn, the author of Tua Time. He also has a book out. It's called Blood and Guts, and it's about tight ends and stuff. So make sure you look at that. A lot of information about the Flores and Tua dynamic, because he talked to a lot of different players. Also, he's, he talks about the Raheem Mostert comments from his article that set Twitter ablaze and started a little back and forth between some of the 49ers players and some of the Dolphin players. So we talk about that. So it's a pretty good interview. Be out on the lookout for that. On Friday, as always, I will be doing the deep dive preview between the Chargers and the Dolphins. Then we'll be live on Sunday for the Dolphins and Chargers live reaction, followed by a late night Finside After Dark, a post-game show. Look at Richard's face. Finside After Dark post-game show, where it's either going to be real lively or it's going to be real down. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if you guys, but one of the best things about this game coming up is going to be Twitter. That thing is going to be a war zone on Sunday night between Charger and Dolphin fans. Oh my God. And you spoke of the homie Derwin James, man. One of my favorite players before the injury started piling up, and guess what? Didn't participate today because of a quad injury. So they're already down JC Jackson. Bosa's out too, right? Is Joey out?
Both. Yeah.
I think Joey's out. And so I mean, they will be getting some players back though. I know, eh? Bro, because I'm telling you, man, they put that defense together. They put that defense together, and it was led by a bunch of guys who they can't stay healthy. Like, kudos to Khalil Mack for staying healthy, but So, anyways, another
season
guys, be sure to tune in on Friday night as well, because I will be doing the 10K giveaway, picking 3 winners for Finside the NFL. So be sure to tune in to the Chargers Dolphins preview show on Friday, because that's when I'll be doing the 10K giveaway. Until next time, everyone, stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. Hopefully, we are back next week discussing a victory and heading, and remaining and getting ready to remain in prime time and get ready for another one. So until next time, everyone, stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. As always, fins up all day, every day. We'll see y'all on the next one.
See you.
All right.